This is the statistics packet, page 313, 7 through 15 odds. We're going to be working with two terms today, mean and outlier. The mean is the average, which is the sum of the numbers divided by the number of data. An outlier is a data point that is much greater or much less than other data points. When we talk about data, we're talking about numbers. So these are just numbers. It could be minutes, it could be hours, it could be feet, it could be inches. And we're going to analyze the data and find the average. So let's say that these were measurements of, I don't know, tomato plants in inches. And we wanted to find the average of each tomato plant. That's just an example. So it would be a good idea to pause this and get these two definitions down and also be working on a separate sheet of paper. So number 7, I wrote down the data points just as they had it on the worksheet. And it's a good idea to get in the habit of ordering them from least to greatest, because you'll see in the next upcoming days. So 8, I have 3 9s, and I have to put all 3. I have an 11, and I have 2 12s. We won't need this today so much, but we will need it in the next day or two. So sum means, the sum of the data means I'm going to add all of these. So I'm going to add all of these and divide by the number of data. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to divide by 7. So you can use a calculator. So 8 plus, I know 9 plus 9 plus 9 is 27. So I'm just going to put 27 plus 11 plus 12 plus 12 or plus 24. When I added all of these up, I got 70. And I am going to divide it by 7. 7D divided by 7 is 10. So the average is, let's go back to my example of tomato plants. If these were the measurements of my tomato plants in inches, my average tomato plant is about 10 inches. I'm just using that as an example. It is also how your grade point averages are calculated. Okay, number 9. Here's my data set. So I'm going to first order it from least to greatest. 91, 92. It's just a good habit. It's not useful today, but it's a really good habit to get into. 108, because you are going to be rarely asked to just find the median. 115 and 121, 115 and 121. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to, I always double check. I'm going to divide all of those by 7. So 91 plus 92 plus 95 plus 108 plus 113 plus 115 plus 121 is 735. I'm going to divide that, 735 divided by 7, and I get 105 equals the mean. Now, if I ever got a decimal, I would always go to the nearest tenth. Mean is to the nearest tenth always. Okay, the next one, ordering really quick, 450. I'm just going to put the plus sign right in the middle. Plus 450, plus 475, plus 500, plus 500. And I have 5 here, 5 there. Divide by 5. I always check that I have the same number, because a little tiny error is going to be able to throw my data off. So I'm adding all of these up, and I get 2,000 I'm going to add those one more time. It's always good. There's only 5 numbers. It's just going to take me one more minute to double check and add them up just to make sure I didn't make an error. Yep, I got it. So divided by 5 is 475. So the average there of those, let's say they were scores. The average is 475. Okay, number 13. Number 13 says, you keep track of the time you spend doing homework each evening. You spend 58 minutes, 36 minutes, 44 minutes, and 37 minutes. Find the mean of those times. So you're finding the average time that you spend on homework in minutes. So here are my times. I'm going to order them from least to greatest. I'm just going to put the plus sign in the middle of them. 44, 58, and there's 4 of them, so I'm going to divide by 4. 36 plus 37 plus 44 plus 58. Again, if I'm going too fast, just pause the video and get your notes down. You should be doing these with my video. So 43.75. So the average, I told you, you should go to the nearest tenth. Let me do those one more time. 36 minutes, 58 plus 44 plus 37 plus 36, 175 divided by 4. Should go to the nearest tenth. So, but it would make sense to leave it as a quarter or 75 hundredths because that would be, sorry, not a quarter, 3/4. So because that would be 43 minutes and a quarter. So, but the average time is 43.8 minutes. Okay, number 15. Now we're moving on to outliers. So it says for each set of data, identify any outliers, then determine the effect that the outlier has on the mean. So I have all of these numbers and they're all pretty low. I have 8, 7, 10, 12, 8. So what this is going to do to my mean is if I have here's my outlier, because 50 is much greater than all of the rest of the sets or the pieces of data. So what a data point will do, or sorry, not a data point, an outlier that is greater, it will increase the mean. So the outlier is 50 and it will increase the mean. Think about your average. So let's just say in your grade point average, let's say you have an 80. If I put, I'll show you, if I put your average grades are an 80, so they're all around 80. If I put a 20, let's say you got a 20 on a test. Okay, that's much less. And I divided that by 2. Your average would drop down to a 50. Or your average wouldn't, but it would make that mean drop down to a 50. But let's say your average is an 80 and you got, let's say you got 105 on a test. Let's see what that does to the mean. If 105 was my outlier, it would be 92.5, and I'm just going to round it to 93. So you see that the greater the outlier, it's going to increase the mean. But if I had an outlier that was much less than my mean, it is going to decrease my mean. So because 50 is greater than all of these pieces of data, they're 8 and 7, 12, 11, this outlier will increase the mean. That's mean and outliers. Remember tomorrow to submit your independent work.